Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Pleasure to be with you. Tariq, Spence, how you doing, man?
Just happy to be here. I'll leave it at that. And congratulations to your Celtics, by the way.
I put it down the middle. Speaking of the Celtics, Pat Duffy wearing number 34.
Just for you, it's
green on gray. That's an interesting...
Well, it's Paul Pierce. I mean, for whatever reason, in like the early 2000s, they did nonstop Celtics throwback jerseys. So I think this one's supposed to be from like 1924, even though the team doesn't exist until 1946. So I don't know what they're doing, but I love it. Who doesn't, right?
Hey, we'll talk Celtics a little bit down the road. I wanted to sort of in honor of Willie Mays. None of us saw him play live or anything like that, but it struck me is that the image of Willie Mays is so great and stuff. If you could go back in time, back in history, to see anyone at any specific time, if you got someone you'd like to see, someplace you'd like to be?
Hank Aaron, Negro Leagues, because of the opportunity to actually play baseball without getting any racist taunts or any threats, enjoying just the game and seeing him in an opportunity to enjoy baseball. I think in that environment, I think a lot of stuff gets lost in the hatred that these players had to deal with when actually going over to Major League Baseball at that time. We've gotten through that to a certain extent, but what's so great about it is that these are people that had a chance to see their star play and know they deserve to be in the major leagues, eventually end up there and get those records now.
And it's really, I think, a cultural phenomenon, the whole that league existing.
In a sense that we were not able to see these great players perform at this level.
Well, they weren't seeing it in the big picture.
Yes.
So, we like it. And there was a certain vibe, I think, to the Negro Leagues that back then appealed to people. To your point, saying they like to go someplace where they felt comfortable.
Everybody hates change until it works.
Yeah.
So that's the way it kind of goes. Sometimes you got to force it and it works. And kind of like, I guess we came out on the right side of it. But, just to see that environment and to be a part of it is something that obviously my generation didn't get a chance to see. A lot of people say, what could have happened? There were a lot more talented players that never got that opportunity. You know what I mean? So that's the other end of it too. But I guess that would be for me.
Who would you say? Where would you go?
Sugar Ray Robinson, either against one of the LaMotta fights or one of the Basilio fights. I mean, you don't have Muhammad Ali. You don't have Mike Tyson. You don't have Sugar Ray Leonard. You don't have, those boxers that he changed the way the fight game went from that point forward. Boxing splits in two from when Sugar Ray Robinson exists. And those old film videos that you can watch from the garden, right? Like, they don't do the speed. There's no way the speed of that man and the power of that man, knockout power in both hands, is done justice. So I would, if one place I could go back, one of those fights between LaMotta, Basilio with Sugar Ray Robinson.
I bet he's got an outfit that fits that time too. Somewhere.
Oh yeah, I got a yellow suit. I nail it. I would nail it.
Is this because you are in fact a boxer?
Well, in the loosest sense of definition, but no, I look at it this way. Sport changes, it evolves. Of the four major sports, they all evolve pretty quickly. Baseball being the one that's the slowest, but you see every 5 to 10 years, wow, they're much faster. Wow, they're much bigger. Boxing doesn't tend to do that. There are still guys that fight today in a very traditional 1950s, 1960s way. Sugar Ray Robinson turned everything upside down on its head, and I want to see what it was like, that old school traditional style versus what he was bringing to the table, totally brand new.
Well, and how things changed, to your point. In the 50s, boxing, horse racing, and baseball were the big three.
Sure. Yeah, but two of them were run by the mob, so we all saw which one survived, right?
Yeah. And look at where we are right now with the NBA, the NFL, and what do you want to throw in there? Hockey, baseball, whichever other sport it is. Soccer, maybe, for those that are around the world. People think they're controlled.
Yeah, no, you're not kidding.
Depending on where they come out of the bets.
Mine is very provincial, and it's because I almost made it. I would have liked to have seen Ted Williams, and maybe to pick a time I'd like to have seen his last game at one that he played at Fenway Park. I just missed Ted. I went to my first baseball game in 1965. It was 5 years after he retired, and I had an interest in the game just 2 years after he retired. So I totally missed him, and I said, man, to be that close and about a 10-year-old, I said, I really would have liked to have enjoyed seeing Ted Williams play.
Yeah, it's rough. Nowadays you can have to go back and see video of it. So, for example, you mentioned Willie Mays, the catch. I still can. You practice that watching it on, This Week in Baseball, and you're like, how the hell did he catch that ball?
But even with that clip, the clip doesn't do it justice. You don't get the speed. You don't get the overall difficulty, right? We take for granted that every great athletic thing that is happening now is in 10 different angles until the end of time in high definition. You can fully appreciate the feeling of Josh Allen destroying a man that's 100 pounds heavier than him, that's out there to, take his head off. We don't get that with everyone we're talking about here.
Good stuff. This is the Rochester Press Box. We're talking Buffalo Bills next. Just passing through. Life lessons from notable Rochesterians, people you may think you know. Don Alhart and Maggie Brooks, John Dady and Stacy Pension, J Mac and Soccer Sam, Fred Costello and Jake Zembeck, along with 21 more. How they all got from there to here. It's a new book by Bill Pucko, available for $12 postpaid only from rocksportsnow.com. Try it and thank you. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box, talking Buffalo Bills. This is a dead part of the season, but The Athletic produced an article saying, teams that had the 5 teams that had a good offseason, the 5 teams that are on the decline. Mm-hmm. You had the Bills on the decline, said the playoff window might be closing. This is one of those things that we seem to talk about every week. But,
sure.
Yeah,
but who doesn't have fun talking about this? This was
well, but the thing is, my point is it can close, but it doesn't mean it has to keep closing. I think it's clear that the team has diminished from what they had last year, as it's equally clear that 2025, put a futures bet on 2025 now, because that's the team.
As a loyal Athletic subscriber, I read this article last week when it came out, and it became very apparent that the person who wrote this article is someone who is not intimately familiar with the Buffalo Bills. Because if you think the Bills are on the decline, and they talk about their chances of winning the division, and I think they even mentioned in the article that the Dolphins had a 3-game lead with 5 games to go last year, and they're not going to make that same mistake again.
We both predicted Buffalo would win that time.
Well, both of us. I seem to remember. I have a clip. The point I'm getting at is this. If you are intimately familiar with this division and this team, I don't believe that the Bills have taken a step back that everyone else in the national media believes. I think it's easy to point to Stephon Diggs as being their leading receiver and saying, oh, well, look what you lost. But you have age. You have the way he played over the last 7. Yes, you lost all those guys to free agency, but Poyer missed games. Hyde missed games. Tre'Davious White has barely played over the last couple of seasons.
It's tough to make a case that they're better without those guys.
We're going to find out. Well, but look, you could have made the same argument with all the defensive injuries they were having, and the system works. Trust the system that McDermott has. And I'll sit here 7 weeks in if it's a tire fire, and I will admit I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong.
But the system can't go up every year, right?
The other, what's interesting about this story? I would agree with this. There was a concern. There's a concern of it doing it the math that eventually the Bills will fall. But then I look over at the Jets, and then I wonder what's going on with their leadership in Aaron Rodgers. To a certain point, to Pat Duffy. Then I look over at the Miami Dolphins and the quarterback situation they have with Tua there. That's going to linger all season long. That might have an effect on that team. Oh, by the way, you can't pay him what you would pay Lawrence or even Daniel Jones for that matter.
I think they should, though. Give him all the money. I'm sorry.
But I'm giving you credit. Can you just take the credit? And here's the other thing. The Patriots are lingering on the past. They love Tom Brady. They love Bill Belichick. Who knows what he's doing? But at any rate, all of this comes back into question, which brings the field back to the Buffalo Bills, where their number one question is, where's their number one wide receiver? But, oh, by the way, every team that's in their division doesn't seem to be that much better off. Even though I believed in Miami last year, they were not able to finish the job. They had the opportunity to do it. I'm a little bit concerned about the rest of the AFC East, which now puts my favor back in the Buffalo.
I think the Dolphins are an interesting case. They're kind of like the Dallas Cowboys of the AFC because they've got this quarterback issue about what to pay him, and they've just thrown money at their 2 wide receivers. This is all going to come back to haunt them in one way or another.
I don't think it comes back. I think it's haunting them right now. I mean, you cannot win with the amount of money that they're paying Tariq Hill and Waddle. And look, here's the thing, man. They're talented wide receivers. I don't think either of those guys are worth that money on any other roster. I don't think they're worth that money on that Miami roster. And you bring up the Jets. I mean, people want to talk about the drama going on in Buffalo and everything like that. Aaron Rodgers is gone missing. He's probably in a dark room taking all kinds of illicit substances. And then Hassan Reddick, who you traded for to be your closer there, you just traded for him. He refuses to report to minicamp. They thought he was going to play under his contract. Did you not call him? Did you not call him? Hey, by the way, you're going to be, Robert Saleh is a joke. The ownership is terrible. Aaron Rodgers is, you know how I feel about Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
How, with the Bills losing, to your point, how are they better off than every other divisional team?
I will listen. I don't like to give you a lot of credit, but I give you credit on this one. This does not look good, and we haven't gotten to camp yet. So that would lead me to believe that the Bills have a better chance if they stay consistent, keep that defense upgraded a little bit more, keep that offense rolling with Josh Allen running away. They got a chance to win this.
And I stumbled on a stat that I thought was interesting, and it's kind of to your point about trusting the process, is McDermott, in his 7 years as the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, has never come in under the over-under total, which I think is fascinating.
Hey, look. The best ability is availability. The second best ability is consistency ability. He's consistent. The man is consistent.
Thank you very much. This is the Rochester Press Box. Like it or not is next.
I agree with you.
Here's the Press Box Trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road.
Thank you, American architect Frank Lloyd Wright, and this amazing getaway to Great Cliff. Hello again, Mike O'Brien, your getaway guy. I'll take you on the tour. Just look for the getaway guy right now on Facebook.
Here's the Press Box Trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
It took me a second to comprehend the gravity of that moment because, you know, it's a really weird scene, right? Like, this is one of the most intense things I've ever done in my life. Like, I'm in front of these people, I'm getting punched in the face, I'm trying to fight back, I got guys in my ear, in my corner telling me what I'm supposed to be doing, right? Like, you're concentrating, focusing. All of a sudden, in a flash, 4 months, boom, it's over. Your adrenaline's still cranking, and all of a sudden I gotta go back to being husband and dad all over again. Like, after, it was when my girls put their arms around me and put the medal around my neck, and it was like, okay, like, I don't know, you know, as a dad, you don't get to see pride in your kids' faces a whole bunch, right? Like, you're a goofy dad. You break things, you can't fix things, you're embarrassing. And it was really nice to see that in my girls' eyes. Like, I could tell that they were legitimately proud of me. And my wife was legitimately proud of me, so much so that despite the fact that I was the sweatiest I've been in a very long time, she still hugged me in that dress that I know she really, really loves.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box. Our Like It or Not segment is brought to you by Ralph Honda, where Honda's done right. Online or in their showroom, build your new Honda, get financing, and a quote on your trade. For your next Honda, visit Ralph Honda. Like it or not, you were there. This Red Wings series against Scranton, the Yankees AAA team, 37,000 over the course of the week.
I was there on Sunday for the least attended game, and they had, 11,000 people at that game? I mean, the game was great, by the way. The Wings blew them out. But I have made the argument for years that the staff at Innovative Field, it's the best restaurant in Rochester. Forget about the baseball,
food,
right?
Love that place to go eat.
Oh, so good. And I think that most people that go to these ball games downtown, I mean, they're there to watch a little bit of baseball and have fun.
Yeah.
You're more there for the experience. I've gone to a lot of minor league ballparks across the country. I would put the Rochester Red Wings game day experience for minor league baseball in the top 5 of all of the places that I've been traveling. And I know you travel a lot and watch baseball in different places too.
Peoria.
There you go.
You know, it's not a coincidence that it was the Yankees team that was in town. I think there's a big residual effect there.
Oh, I mean, you start first with, Cy Young Award-winning pitcher and a big night on Friday. It kind of looms over. And then, of course, the Father's Day game, which is the one you were at. Mm-hmm. I mean, it just kind of makes sense. And it's the Yankees, by the way. I mean, there are a couple of different prospects that are now up that were there this past weekend.
Yeah, so, good for them. Good for the Red Wings. So, like it or not, Jeff Van Gundy's got a new gig, lead assistant in the LA Clippers.
Does anybody feel uncomfortable when a head coach gets a former head coach as their number one assistant? Does anybody get a little bit creeped out at this?
What do you mean by that?
Feeling like, I don't know, maybe if things don't go well, I'll get fired and this guy will take my job?
Well, I know they have some history. It was a long time ago, but Ty Lue's about as secure as any coach in the NBA.
But you've got a billionaire owner who really needs to win very fast and doesn't need any excuses now.
Along the lines, I was surprised that nobody in this league was willing to offer Jeff Van Gundy a head coaching position with the success that he's had. And
it was such a long period of time.
he is familiar. I mean, younger guys are familiar with Van Gundy through his work on television. I think that goes a long way. It's not like he wouldn't be able to relate to the younger players. For example, I mean, even his brother has had a job forever and ever and ever.
I don't understand how these assistants, whether it's somebody who runs a podcast or anybody who has been out of the league for 10 years, are just these number one candidates out of the blue. Who is working with these current NBA coaches?
To his point, JJ Redick's going to get a job with zero experience. You're going to make Van Gundy earn his way back up to a head coaching job? How does that make sense?
Well, you know, he was an executive assistant, whatever that was, with the Celtics, and apparently everyone who's in touch with that team winning the championship was saying he was great. He had a real influence on that championship team.
I don't know.
This is the Rochester Press Box. Our Like It or Not segment is brought to you by Ralph Honda and Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. Come home to McArdle's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one. Score!
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here. This is Rochester Press Box, our favorite segment, Unfinished Business. Pat, start us.
NBA champion, Boston Celtics. I want to be excited about that, right? I'm an Irish guy. I should be a Celtics fan, and I don't dislike the Celtics. I don't really have a favorite NBA team. I just like watching basketball. There was something a little bit strange, yet comforting, watching Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown win championships. You know, as much as I'm not a fan of the Celtics, I did feel deeply for Jason Tatum the way that he's been treated the last couple of years, because for some reason folks just decided he was the heir apparent to be the next guy in the NBA, and I don't know where that came from. He's wildly talented. I mean, he plays in a big market, but it's not like Boston is LA or New York center of the basketball universe. It kind of was unfairly heaped upon him. And then what Jaylen Brown went through last year, being described as the reason why the Celtics didn't push through, trade rumors about him all offseason. In fact, you heard Tatum discuss watching him go through those trade rumors. You know, there are guys that deserve to win NBA championships. Al Horford deserved to win that NBA championship. A guy who played ball the right way for all those years and earned it, right? But I look at those two young guys, and rarely do you see two young guys feel like they deserve a chance to win. But for those guys, as young as they are, with all the future they have, they deserved it. And I, for one, am happy to see it.
The NBA Finals are finally done, which means all concentration goes to WNBA. And with the ratings they had last week, when it was Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese facing off, they had the biggest ratings they've had in 23 years, which makes me plead with the WNBA. You've got a good thing going right now. Please don't destroy it with people that are so upset with the fact that why didn't they get coverage from 10 to 15 years ago? We're bringing the party to the people who want to watch women's basketball. You never go to a party and say, hey, where you been? You just go to the party and you have fun. Ladies, just have fun. Take the attention, take all the grades, all the different ratings that are now going up, and play basketball from here on out. You people haven't watched this much women's basketball in the Professor Rex in 23 years. Highest rated game. That's because of these two young players. Please let them have fun. Don't bring your politics. Don't bring your BS. Don't bring anything else. Just let them play and enjoy the game and let everybody in for the party.
It opened in 1910. 114 years later, it still stands. The oldest ballpark in the country, Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama. Giants and the Cardinals played a game there last week. It was meant to honor the Negro Leagues, which earlier this month were granted full and complete access to the game's record books. But more to the point, it was meant to honor Willie Mays. Mays got his start as a 15-year-old playing parts of 3 seasons at Rickwood with the Birmingham Black Barons of the Negro Leagues. He blossomed from there into one of the best and most electrifying performers in baseball's long history. He was the original 5-tool player, an all-star a record 18 times. Mays is the only major leaguer to have at least 3,000 hits, a 300 career batting average, 300 home runs, and 300 stolen bases. A numerologist's delight. An iconic catch and a throw that he made in the 1954 World Series cemented his defensive legacy. The Say Hey Kid, playing center field, the saying goes, is where triples went to die. It is literally the end of an era. Mays made it known that he couldn't attend that game last week, but he'd be watching on television. My heart will be with all of you, he said. It'll be a special day. Willie didn't make it, although there had to be some solace in knowing that it was scheduled. At 93, he died 2 days too soon. Willie, Mickey, and the Duke. Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, Duke Snider. The New York baseball's great triumvirate from the game's golden years. Mays was the last man standing. Now they're all gone. That's our unfinished business, and that is our program. Say Hey Kid. You guys know, either one of you know how he got this?
No, don't tell.
Very nice. Well, say he came up as a shy kid. I think he's 17, 18 years old, first major league clubhouse. He didn't want to talk a lot, and he didn't know anybody's name. So everything was like, hey, Leo Droscher's manager nicknamed him the Say Hey Kid.
Oh,
Look at that.
oh, interesting.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week with the Rochester Press Box.
And now the tease.
That's